Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. It's always a joy to remind you that the most important presence is the one that is within you. Never take this for granted, but do go to it each day, knowing that that presence within you is not just the source of your external life, but is the source of you, and it wants to express itself beautifully. One other comment, I invite you to join us tonight if you're able to do so for What is Life Body from 7 to 8:30. Perhaps maybe one other comment. Today's teaching might be life-changing for you. Let's begin. My dear friends, as I mentioned in last week's teaching on the one presence, I wanted to expand this teaching. Before I do so, may I relate how so many of you responded so well to the teaching of the one presence. It is such a joy to see so many of you who truly feel that you are participants in this one universal presence. It's marvelous. It continues to amaze me how this one presence can be in all of us, and yet is individualized in each one of us. It is precisely the subject of how we individualize the one presence in our daily living that is the topic of today's teaching, entitled From Presence to Process, with the subtitle Form Follows Function. I will begin the teaching with two introductions, proceed to our point of origin, and then, of course, focus primarily on how our soul will use our personality self as the means of expression. Let's begin. As I said, I will begin with two introductions which easily support each other. The first introduction concerns attempts at trying to assist people to live with more everyday consciousness. Two such attempts are the following. The first one: if today is the last day of your life, how would you live it? This statement is a good reminder to us. With more attention, we can be even more expansive of the goodness of our everyday acts. Although it seems to be less inspirational as one day moves into the next and we have different things coming up in our lives. The second statement is, how would you want to be when you pass? How would you want to be when you die physically? This statement has a wider scope, linking the continuity of your present life with your future life. It clearly suggests that you will be facing a wider spectrum of life than just earthly life, hinting at what you would want to be in that larger presence. But there is a third statement that is much more penetrating and much more decisive, and sets the tone for the second introduction. The third statement is this: how would you live? How would you live if this were the first day of the rest of your life? How would you live if this were the first day of the rest of your life? This is obviously something much more substantial. There's just more to the question. How would you live if this were the first day of the rest of your life? It presumes that something has changed from the way you formerly lived, and now you are on a different path. This question clearly speaks to our spiritual growth, For years, we were unconsciously living in the energy of separation. But now we have moved beyond those lower energies and are now moving into alignment with our God Spirit. And many of you truly feel that you are in an enlightened state of living. In fact, that you are becoming a Christ consciousness, so that this third question really speaks to you. How would you like to live if this were the first day of the rest of your life? How would you like to live in this first day of the new alignment? This question clearly speaks to us in the following manner. How do we want to live from now on? Just a good question. How do we want to live from now on? From now on. From now on. Which means not just on our life here on earth, but really, how do we want to live for all time? This question is so relevant for us right at this time in our lives, because we are doing precisely this. We are changing how we want to live from now on. Would you not say that's true? You're changing how you want to live from now on. As I said, this third question is the lead into our second introduction. It is this second introduction which will provide us with a principle of our present growth here on the planet, as well as our future development. This principle was coined by an architect in 1896. The name of the architect was Louis Sullivan. In a nutshell, in three words, he gave us a principle of life that is applicable far beyond the field of architecture. The principle he gave us are these three words: form follows function. Let me repeat it. Form follows function. One more time. Form follows function. When Sullivan would be designing a building, he would base the building on this principle. The form, the building itself, follows its function, what it is designed to do. Again, let me restate the application of this principle. The form, the building itself, follows its function, what it is designed to do. With this principle clearly in mind, form follows function. You can clearly understand how this architectural principle applies to the architecture of your own life. Especially because we have ended the game of separation. And in doing so, we understand that what we are now doing is determining how we will live from now on, both here on the planet and beyond. We have a very clear principle to follow. Form follows function. The question that then is posed for us is, well, what's your function? What's your function? And how does this function of you speak to your present human form and any future form that you might move into? Such a principle, form follows function. What a wonderful principle that is. And such a good question to ask. What's your function? To answer this question, what is your function? We will begin a little philosophically, and then, as always, proceed to very practical applications. First, the philosophical aspect, which is becoming more and more familiar to all of us. In order to develop this philosophical view of ourselves, it is important for us to return. In order to develop the philosophical aspect, it's very important for us to return to our point of origin. But when we talk about our point of origin, we do not mean being born into a human body. What we mean as our point of origin is to understand that you were created by your source energy as an eternal soul, an eternal conscious soul. Your point of origin is your eternal soul. You have to grasp that. Your point of origin is not your human form. Your point of origin is your conscious, eternal soul. This is the first thing we need to consider in the phrase form follows function. We have to understand what is the function of our soul. Again, we are very grateful to A Course in Miracles, which clearly guides us to what our soul function is when it states two things. The first one, that your soul is an extension of the God energy. Your soul is an extension of the God energy, and that as such, your soul function as an extension of the God energy, secondly then, is to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Now here's the point. To create the good, the beautiful, and the holy from your soul. Not simply from the human form, but allow the human form to be the vehicle for your soul. To create the good, the beautiful, and the holy from your soul's function. Well, we express this function of the soul in many ways, such as bringing heaven to earth, or ushering in the kingdom of God, or bringing consciousness to the planet. We understand that our soul creations are the ways that we are meant to function now here on planet Earth. In now creations, we have used a wonderful summary statement that has had a dramatic impact on so many people. The statement is, we are the love of God in human form. We are the love of God in human form. And that our soul function is precisely this. The function of our soul here on the planet, in this physical body, is to express the love of God in human form. Your form, your body, mind, emotions, is the vehicle for your function. to be an extension of the God Spirit, and to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy. Now that we have a clear understanding of our soul function, of being creative extensions of the love of God, we can now address the more practical issues of how our human form can follow the function of our loving soul as extensions of the God energy. I'm going to say that again. Now we can have a clear understanding of what our human form can be like as it follows the function of our eternal soul. One more time, that you understand how your human form becomes the vehicle for the function of your eternal soul. Might I suggest to you that there are 3 human forms, being very practical now, that express our soul function of being the love of God in human form. The first is the clarity, the crystal clarity that you now have with the understanding that you have a direct connection to the God source from your soul. You, in your human form, have a direct connection to the God source, to the God Spirit from your soul. This is so very important for us to understand. We are reminded again and again and again that we have not left our source, except in our minds when we play that game of separation. But even then, you are never separated from your source, except in your mind. And it is precisely this direct connection that we are reclaiming. In this reclaiming of our direct connection, we need to do 2 things. The first one is to release the need for any intermediary, whether that intermediary be a person, such as Jesus or the Buddha, or a book, such as the Bible or the Quran, or an organization, such as church, a temple, or a mosque, because you have a direct connection of your soul to your source. Now, certainly people, spiritual books, and organizations can be helpful, but we must learn to move beyond them, especially from the guilt that many people suffer by being labeled as sinners or as unworthy of God, or even going so far as to say that people perhaps deserve eternal damnation. All of these are fear tactics. All of these are fear tactics that have hindered people, from realizing their true connection to their loving Father, Mother God. Many churches have stopped people going from within. And as a result, many people continue to go without the realization of their direct connection to the God Spirit. It's sad to say, but truthful to say, that the churches are the last ones to leave the game of separation. They seem to fear rather than to teach our direct connection to our God Spirit. Which now brings us to the second aspect of our direct connection to our source. The second aspect of our direct connection to our source are the spiritual practices that we have put into place that daily renew our connection. Now, you know these 7 daily spiritual practices. First, to dedicate your day to loving everyone before you get out of bed in the morning. Secondly, a 20 or 30-minute meditation. Third, some physical exercise, preferably an energization exercise. Fourth, a go-to phrase to rescue you when you need it from the drama. Fifth, a wisdom statement, an umbrella statement of the meaning of your life, something like, I am the love of God in human form. Sixth, doing what we're doing right now, joining with other people in this wonderful opportunity we have today. And then 7, to have a mantra that kind of fills you in the midst of your day, something like, the Holy Spirit is my guide, or my spirit is the Holy Spirit. Okay, you know these 7 practices. Do you do them? I'm serious. Do you do them? Do you do them? Do you not understand that these 7 practices are the bases of your spiritual path? And without them, you will fall back into the old guilt and separation patterns. I know that you know that these 7 practices are important. The question is, do you do them? Do not fool yourself into a spiritual complacency. Now listen closely. Secondly, of these 7 daily practices, there is one that stands out head and shoulders above the rest. I know that you know what it is. It's our practice of daily meditation. Daily meditation for at least 20 to 30 minutes lies at the heart of our direct connection to the God Spirit. Do you meditate daily? Listen closely. For months now, I've encouraged you to do a meditation that refreshes your soul, that renews yourself daily, so that at the end of the meditation, you might sincerely say, yes, I do feel my direct connection to the God Spirit. Isn't that wonderful? At the end of that meditation, yes, I do feel my direct connection to the God Spirit. Yes, I do feel that I am the love of God in human form. Yes, I do sincerely love everyone, and I am understanding of third dimensional behaviors, even when others are not. Now, rest assured that I'm quite aware that some of you substitute other things for your daily meditation, such as reading or maybe going for calming walks. And these can be quite helpful, quite settling. But just because you feel better at the moment, do not think that you have directly connected to the source and have refreshed your soul. You may feel a little better, But don't fool yourself that you've reconnected to your source. It's easy to deceive yourself by saying that feeling calmer from a challenging day is the same as directly connecting to your source. Easy to fool yourself. Now really listen closely. Do you not see that you are wanting to continue to be in charge of yourself rather than reconnecting with your source? Oh yes, I know what's best for me. Do you not see? You still want to be in control of yourself rather than reconnecting with your source. If you do not go within, you will go without spiritual refreshment. Without spiritual refreshment. And if you do not go within, your human form will not follow your soul function. Try as you might, you are limiting your human form because you are limiting your function as the soul. You're doing this to yourself. You are limiting your human form because you're not functioning how you're capable of operating. The human form follows the soul function. In conclusion, you probably noticed that we did not get to points 2 and 3 in the teaching. We'll resume this teaching next week. In the meantime, ponder well the phrase, form follows function. As you identify your soul's function, you will notice quite an uplift in your personality form. Isn't that the goal? When you identify your soul's function as an extension of God to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy, of course, you're going to elevate the quality of your personality form. And as we function as a unity of souls, we will continue to uplift each other. More is coming, but for the moment, celebrate your soul function in your personal form. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. You know that we're on target today. How many years have you looked outside of yourself to find that? That's something. How many times have you changed forms? Ah, a new relationship, a new job, a new exercise. We have all made the mistake in the experience of separation to think that our function was to function as best we could as a limited personality self, human being. Gee, we tried. I mean, we tried everything. We just kept on getting the same results. A temporary satisfaction, not only then losing the perfume of the flower, but even the bloom of the flower. That often then ended in separation, boredom, disgust, and then the relentless search again. I'll do it again. We just didn't know. But now we do. Now we do. I applaud each and every one of you, each and every one of you, because you have taken the time to go within. You've taken the time to study, knowing that there was something more that you were missing. And however long it took, it brought you to this place. You know that you are an eternal conscious soul connected to your source. I'll say that again. You are an eternal conscious soul that's connected to your source. You're clear as a bell about this. Of course, you've appreciated all of the people, all of the authors, the great avatars of the past, certainly churches at times. You've appreciated everyone that has helped you. And in the long run, it's been up to you to acknowledge your direct path. That incredible book, A Course in Miracles, helping you to understand yourself that you are an extension of the God energy. You have not left your source, and you now, you're in human form, are an extension of the God energy. The Jewish mystical form called the Kabbalah has another E word that is just as lovely as extension. It teaches that you are an emanation from the divine. You're a sparkling presence, an emanation from the divine. Don't you feel that? I mean, right where you are, right now. You're an emanation, a spark of divine life. And now that you know what your function is, to be an extension of the divine, and to create the good, the beautiful, and the holy, what fun it is to be able to do that in your human form. One of these human forms is what we're doing right now, just gathering with other wonderful souls and just enjoying this wonderful energy, this one presence fills each one of us, fills us up. And then later on in the day, we may do a few other things that fill us up. Or maybe we might say better, we feel those things up. Our soul is filling up the things that we do with the God Spirit. I am the love of God in human form. My form is following my function. My form is following my function. And when you change forms, you'll still have the same function. You're an eternal soul, conscious, filled with love. Changing forms does not change your function. So how does it feel? How does it feel living the first day of the rest of your life? And with that, let me invite you back to your breath. Still feeling pretty good about living the first day of the rest of your life. Just feel that breath filling you with that loving presence. And just when you're ready, just gently breathing your eyes open, happy. Why wouldn't you be? Why would you not be happy? I am an eternal being of light and love. Thus, only good can come to me, and only good can come from me. And we are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us, and only good can come from us. Namaste.